final thing I want to say, if you're a writer and you're watching this, if you're a writer and a reader, I mean, if you're just a reader, then this doesn't necessarily apply. But as a writer, I think it is important to branch out in what you read. Read by many different authors, not necessarily different genres. If you only write in one genre, you don't really need to read a whole bunch of genres. It can still be useful because you can still learn things from those books and from the way those authors write. But even in your own genre, branch out in the authors that you like. And I am very bad at doing this because I am a picky reader. And when I find an author I like to read all of their books. Like, I read all of Stevenson's books. I want to read all of Laini Taylor's books. This is one of hers. There's another one behind it right here, but you can't really see it. But I read her Daughter of Smoke and Bone trilogy, and I learned a ton from reading that, and I want to read her other books. I haven't yet, but I'm hoping to get them eventually. Maybe when libraries open up again in my town, I can read more, or if I find them at a thrift store, I'll definitely pick them up. But my point is, I do love her books, but I also want to branch out. So I learned a lot of things from Laini Taylor. I learned a lot of things from Michael Crichton. I learned things from Stevenson that I don't want to do. So I'm trying to branch out and learn what I can from different people. From Michael Crichton, I learned that you can put action scenes in your book that don't necessarily move the plot along, but they don't hold it down either. They just make it interesting. They keep it interesting. So I learned a lot about how to keep a book moving and how to keep it interesting from Michael Crichton. That's something I'm trying to implement into my books as I'm writing right now. I'd been stuck for a very long time on the current book I'm working on, and after reading Michael Crichton's book, I was like, you know what? I don't know how to get from here to here, but I'm going to add in some action, and hopefully that'll get me there eventually, but keep it interesting. So yeah, that's what I learned from Michael Crichton so far, mostly. From Laini Taylor, I learned how to do good suspense. The suspense in Daughter of Smoke and Bone was incredible. That was the biggest thing that stood out to me, was how well she did suspense. I've always tried to write suspense. I have never written suspense well. I learned that from reading her books. I thought I was doing suspense or writing it very well. I wasn't. So from Laini Taylor, I learned how to write suspense. I learned how to write an impactful death scene, and how to make your deaths just meaningful, and to not write a death for the sake of having a death because you want to kill this character, but killing the character so that it moves the story along and it impacts the other characters, and you can bring it up over and over again because it has a purpose and it's meaningful. And I also learned that you don't have to follow the rules. Laini Taylor doesn't always follow the rules, and I will talk about that more when I review her books again. I want to read them again and then do a whole review over the 4 books that I have right now, because they're all the same series. But yeah, she doesn't always follow the rules, and that's okay. It worked for the book. She broke a major rule of writing, but it makes so much sense when you read it. Oh my word, I want to talk about it right now, but I'm going to try to save that for when I review the books. But yeah, my favorite series of all time. I highly recommend Daughter of Smoke and Bone. If you're looking for a new fantasy series, please check it out. I will hopefully soon have review videos about it. I'm not going to read it right now because I misspoke. I only have 2 of the books. I don't know why I said that I have all 4. I have this one here, A Night of Cake and Puppets, which is just a tag-along to the trilogy. And then I have the first book in the trilogy, Daughter of Smoke and Bone. I have read all of them, but I had to get the other 2 from the library. And right now, the library closest to me is not open. So, and I don't even know if they're going to have the book because they're kind of a small library, but if they do have the series, I will read that as soon as libraries open. If they have it, I'm going to read it again because I am itching to read it. I really want to buy the books, but I'm really cheap, and so they're kind of like $20 for the second one, and then the third one is a little bit harder to find for a better price. I found it for like $40 a couple places, and I'm not paying $40 for a book right now, especially when I have so many others to read. I'm going to wait and see if the price comes down. But I do really want to read them again and do a review on them. So keep a lookout for that sometime in the future. Hopefully not too far off because I want to read them again so bad. But anyway, I rabbit trailed because I don't have all of this on my outline and I tend to ramble. But the point is, branch out. read from many different authors so you can learn things from them. One author is not going to have everything you need to learn. Books are a really great way to learn. They're not the only way to learn about writing. You don't have to read to learn, but it is a really good way. I don't like reading most of the time. I'm super picky. I'm a very slow reader, but even I think that you can gain a lot from reading. So if you've been stuck for a while reading the same author and you've just only been reading their books, maybe it's time to branch out a little. Pick up some Michael Crichton and read that. Or hey, you can learn from my book, Here's to the Underdogs, which I'll someday do a review on when I read it again and can point out everything. I'm not reading it right now because the last time I tried to pick it up and read it, I was way too hard on myself and it did no good. All I saw were the flaws in my book. So I need to just take some time away from it, and then when I read it, try to read it not as a critical author, but just as a reader enjoying it. I need to be a little bit nicer to myself. I mean, we are our own worst critics. That is certainly true of me, and I just need a little bit of space from the book right now. I love my characters and I love my book, and I'm very proud of it, but I need to be careful when I read it because I do see all of the mistakes and all of the things that I could have done better if I just had more time or if I knew what I was doing. It's my first attempt at self-publishing a book. That is self-published, first book I've published. I did it all myself. I mean, I hired people to do like formatting and things, but I didn't have a mentor telling me what to do. I had a goal in mind and I went for it blindly, and I learned a lot in the process. And eventually I will have a video about that, my self-publishing journey and what I learned and what I did well, what you can do, and what you probably shouldn't do, because I learned a lot of things that I shouldn't do, and I can offer a lot of advice. I don't know that I can offer tons of wisdom necessarily. I've only done it one time. I don't know how huge of a success it was. Even though I've only self-published one book, I learned so much along the way, so I look forward to doing a video about that soon. Anyway, rabbit trailing again. Remember to branch out in your reading, and have a blessed day, everybody. I'll see you next time.